Like, you don't even need to be on Tinder to recognise that there's so many hot single people around the place. You go out to a club and you can hook up with people.
Today's guest in the Guten Tag podcast is Lulu Johnson, author of the book Dating in Berlin.
Men in Berlin are just red flags themselves. They're doing what every guy does and they get bored. We just have so much choice in front of us that everyone keeps swiping until they find the next best thing, but we forget to actually work on building a relationship with someone.
What was the worst date you ever had?
Are we going to talk about it? So settle down, boys. I have a story for you.
Hallo liebe Freunde, welcome to another episode of the Guten Tag podcast, the podcast where we talk with interesting people living in Germany who have an inspiring story and which I hope it will inspire you as well. So my name is Luardo and I'm here with my friend
Benji.
Today's guest is a very special guest who has written a book about dating in Berlin, as we want to know a little bit more how is the dating scene in Berlin and why is it so hard, why a lot of people are complaining that it's very hard to find a partner in the city. Lulu Johnson, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Oh my gosh. It feels especially totally special.
Yeah. People who have interesting stories, and I think you have a very interesting one.
Or many.
Maybe we can show the book to the people like who are watching on YouTube. This is the book, Dating in Berlin. And I think it's a collection of a lot of stories.
Oh, yeah. My whole life's in there, really, honestly, without sounding egotistic about it. I wrote a book about my dating experiences since moving to Berlin in 2015. So that's 9 years later, lads. I have a lot of stories.
Okay,
yeah.
So more or less the same time as me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my birthday coming up soon, the Berlin birthday.
Ah.
3 weeks time.
How many dates did you have before you came up with the idea of writing the book?
That is a great question. Countless, just simply countless. I couldn't tell you how many. I mean, I must have easily been going on one a week, at least for years. So we're talking hundreds, lads.
Wow.
Probably, to be honest.
What's the difference between Ireland and Berlin? Why is this book not dating in Ireland, but is dating in Berlin? What makes Berlin so different?
Well, I never used to date in Ireland. So I basically had lived in Australia and I went backpacking in Asia before I came to Berlin. I have cousins who are from Berlin. That's the reason I'm here. So I was like, I'm not going back to my tiny town of 120,000 people. I'm moving to Berlin for another adventure. And that's when I started dating, actually. I had my relationships in Ireland and then this was the problem. This is why I wrote the book. So I had an easy life in Ireland. I was like, I always had boyfriends. In a country of 4 million people, I thought, well, it'll be just as easy to find a boyfriend in a city of 4 million people. And here I am, lads. There's no ring on this finger. I have no man. So I'm still looking for that relationship. But so Ireland is, I couldn't tell you anything about Ireland. And I have had my wildest experiences in this wild town. So that's why I wrote Dating in Berlin, the book.
Okay. But then how you met your boyfriends back then?
In Berlin, you mean, or
no,
back in Ireland?
Yeah.
Oh, school, just
okay. So from school,
in the bar, and you just talk to someone, and then literally a week later, you're in a relationship.
Oh,
like in the old good times.
So easy. And I came to Berlin being like, the same thing is going to happen here, and that was not the case.
Why do you think it got so difficult here, or why? Why it got like so? I mean, 100 dates. I think are like 100 not so successful dates, or all of them were so good that you wanted the next experience, or what do you think was?
Well, will I walk you through basically what happened? Like the whole reason that I wrote the book. So as I'd said, I had an easy dating life in Ireland. Came here under the same idea that I will find the man that I want here very easily as well. So I was 6 months living in Berlin and it came to September of 2015, hadn't found what I was looking for. Got really frustrated and I had a little weep on a bench after work and I was like crying to the gods. I was like, please bring me someone. And that very night I met a man in an Irish bar and we, within a week, were in a relationship.
Okay.
But then this was a very toxic, abusive relationship that I found myself in for 9 months. So this is the story. This is how it all happened. I didn't realize I was in an emotionally abusive relationship until years later when another guy did the dirt on me and basically cheated on me. And I thought, well, instead of crying over the second guy, I'm going to go to therapy. And so I went to therapy and I realized, oh, actually, I had actually been emotionally abused those years before with the first boyfriend in Berlin. And then that opened up the floodgates. I was just like, how come I didn't know what manipulation, gaslighting, love bombing, and all of these things were when I was in that relationship? I felt something was wrong. I just couldn't pinpoint what was happening.
Okay.
And so then it was years later. And so I wrote the book as a guide for other people to understand what toxic traits are in people, what red flags to look out for in people. And so, yeah, basically it just went from there.
And was he Irish?
No, English. A London boy. They're always trouble. Very sexy.
Now that you mentioned red flags, what are the red flags that you have detected, or that you what are the red flags that you would say those are very obvious when you're dating?
Like, it's different for everyone, but for me at least, I find I can pick up now when I know some guy is being too pushy, if someone's texting you all the time and if they're like, hey, why aren't you texting back? If they're kind of making a fuss about things, I'm like, mate, chill out. I've just met you. Let's take this slow, you know? There's so many red flags. I have a section in my book because I honestly, at this stage, I know everything about dating, but sometimes you just forget to you forget certain things. But say, for instance, like telling someone that they've cheated on their ex before is a huge red flag.
Okay, yeah.
Right? I mean,
yes.
So with this toxic relationship, so many red flags were thrown in my face and I didn't recognize them.
If he tells you, I have cheated to my girlfriend in a past relationship, that's a big red flag.
Yeah, take note of that. I mean, I know people have their reasons, but, read the room a little bit. What is this guy like? Was he, gloating about it? Was he, showing off?
I know one related of that. It is that she cheated with the girlfriend with you. You know?
Yeah, like that's risky too. Because how could you trust someone if they've cheated on their boyfriend with you?
Yes,
exactly. Oh God, I would run a mile if that happened. No way. Because it's all about trust at the end of the day. I know you hear some beautiful love stories that last forever where someone did leave their wife for you and now you've run off into the sunset together. But it's kind of unheard of, especially in Berlin.
Yeah.
You know? So shall I read out a few of them?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm really looking.
You kind of put me on the spot because I haven't dated for so long. I'm like, God, I actually need to read these out. So this guy, for instance, he was very hot-tempered and he would get angry when I would hang out with my own friends.
Oh,
that was a huge thing.
Okay, that sounds like Latin America.
Oh, really?
Every guy in Latin America.
But keep going because you already said two that are could be every Latino guy.
Okay. Oh, thanks for warning me. Right. Okay.
Now we're telling her not to date any guy from Latin America.
Well, look, we can't paint everyone with the same brush. But so this guy was also having problems with me having male friends. That was a huge thing because this guy was massively insecure. Okay. So this is basically books about Latin American fellas arguing when I wanted to spend time alone. Mm-hmm. He did not want to be alone, and if I would want to just be in my own apartment, there'd be war.
Okay.
He was trying to get me to wear certain clothes. He was like, "Oh, don't wear that. Wear this. Don't wear too much makeup. Oh, you should be wearing less mascara or all this." He was kind of trying to control me in that sense. He was not taking responsibility for lots of things, basically. And what else? Being hot-tempered, of course, when someone is extremely aggressive. Mm. That's a massive red flag.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And when you hear them screaming down the phone to their baby mama, that's all. It's all very what's the saying? Telltale signs. It's a telltale sign.
It's your native language.
I think I am nervous now, to be honest. But yeah, so I mean, there's so many red flags for everyone, and it all just depends. But those were mine with this particular guy.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just identified 3 of them, but don't take a bad image about Latino guys. So they are also very charming and very...
I've heard that. Yeah.
So, I think it's a stereotype.
Yeah.
Kind of. But they also do a lot of it can be misinterpreted with this love bombing.
Yeah.
So, because if you see a pretty girl, you will approach and you will say, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and so on. And that may be confused with love bombing, because I think some guys really mean it. So it's really honest, but I can imagine that it is to get the girl.
And that is problematic because you would hear that down through the
yeah.
years, it's like, God, you're gorgeous. And it's like, you only want to have sex with me or something, you know?
Yeah.
And because so many women can relate to this, and I'm sure there's men out there as well, but of the women that I have met, we have all been love bombed so many times. It's very hard to fully trust someone until you really get to know them. And even then, I mean, you can be love bombed for years and then realize what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, so it's tough out there, lads, you know?
Wow. Okay. Wow, interesting. And is there, for example, on something about the people in Berlin or the guys in Berlin that you would say, okay, that's a typical red flag of a typical guy who lives in Berlin?
I think men in Berlin are just red flags themselves. I mean, to be honest, it depends on how long someone's been here for. I've given up on the lads in Berlin. Honest
Really?
to God, I'm going further afield. Like, Benji can't contain himself.
That's right.
Oh no, I mean, honestly, I feel, in my own opinion, if a lad has been here in Berlin for too long, they get too used to the city. And like, I'm probably guilty of it as well. I mean, we all become a bit fussy when we're here. We know that like you don't even need to be on Tinder or any of these dating apps to recognize that there's so many hot single people around the place. You go out to a club and you can hook up with people. You go to Kit Kat, Jesus, you'll have a party all night long, like be having sex with whoever you want, really, you know. So I think when guys are here for too long, for me, it's a bit off-putting, because I would think, they're doing what every guy does and they get bored of you and then they leave. It's very hard to settle down in the city. Lots of men have the Peter Pan syndrome. Have you heard about Peter Pan syndrome?
Yes. They don't want to grow up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, keeps them young. And that's great. I mean, I like to stay young, but mentally, this emotional intelligence isn't there for
might
everyone.
have this thing, okay, guys don't want to grow out of their, I'm going to a party, clubbing and everything, hooking up with girls. Yeah, okay. It gets like some sort of, it's the city and what it offers, what hooks you into it, right?
Yeah, and it isn't just the men that are experiencing the Peter Pan syndrome as much. I mean, look at us. I mean, I'm 35 this year and I'm still going clubbing and I'm having fun, like, but I'm not out there for hookups anymore. Like I used to like it. I used to enjoy, you know, trying to find a boyfriend and hooking up in the meantime. But I'm over that now. I actually chill out on my weekends and I don't party all the time. Berlin keeps me young in other ways, but a lot of people you will find mentally they are still Peter Pans.
Okay.
You know?
It could be like, I can relate to that a lot because I have seen it in some friends that is like, dude, your mattress cannot be on the floor anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, we're looking at Benji, aren't we? Sorry, Benji.
Yeah, and also, this IKEA furniture, white IKEA furniture. Yeah,
Men love white IKEA furniture.
Yes,
It
it's simple.
breaks my
It
head.
is functional. It works.
Oh, yeah, it's functional and it works, but my God, like, get a personality. Come on. Sorry. But like when I go to a man's home and he has paint on the walls or like green cushions, I'm like, he's a keeper. You know? Once it's not white IKEA shit. Sorry, Benji.
Completely fine.
Yeah. But so it can be that guys in other cities and smaller towns, they are over that part that Berlin's offered. By the age they're already 30, and here you see guys under 35, 38, 40s and so on, like still going on the feeling like if they were still 25.
Exactly. And you kind of have to grow up sometimes. You know what I mean? Just grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
Mature a bit. You could still go out and have fun and like act young in a sense of like still enjoy partying. Don't let age stop you from doing the things that you want to do, which can often happen in different countries as you get older. But you know, kind of grow up a little bit. You can't shag every woman every weekend. Like you're not how you were before, hon.
Yeah,
you know?
But it's interesting that here guys have that leverage on their side because I always hear it from other friends who come from more southern countries like Italy, Greece, and so on. They say, there you go, or even Mexico, you go to a bar and you cannot just easily approach a woman like that easy. They will really reject you if they are not interested in the most mean way. They will ignore you. They will make their eyes like, so on.
Yeah.
And here,
There's not like that.
It is not like that.
I mean, I would never, if a guy came up to me, unless he was drunk and being a total sleaze, I'd be like, back off, hon. But like if someone came up to me and was like, hey, can I invite you for a coffee? And if they weren't my type, I'd be like, no, thanks. But, you know, thanks for asking. Maybe because I've been, like, we've all been rejected 1,000 times in our lives. It's just nice to be nice. It's just easier to be nice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spread love.
Yeah.
you know?
yeah. And do you think also, well, as you said, there's a lot of attractive people in the city. I mean, I don't know so much about guys because they're not my type, but from girls, I notice a lot that there's a lot of attractive women. I go to other parts of Germany, and you come back to Berlin, and then you really see that contrast. You see, oh, okay, here's where all the good-looking people come, and young people. But do you think that is maybe this, how's it called, the paradox of choice that makes it hard?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is it. I mean, it's not, is it just Berlin or is it everywhere now because of the dating apps? We just have so much choice in front of us that everyone keeps swiping until they find the next best thing. But we forget to actually work on building a relationship with someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is the problem everywhere. It's really not just Berlin anymore. I think the dating apps have ruined it for everyone.
Yeah. I have.
It's this like buying something. Like Amazon, you can just order something and you will receive it the next day. So this instant satisfaction.
Exactly. Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. So you know that many people put a lot of effort on the profile that they are building on Tinder.
You're asking, have I noticed?
Yeah, no, but like, do you see a pattern there?
No, like this is the thing. Men, oh man, like guys on dating apps don't have as good profiles as the women do because, you know, girls go out and they take photos looking cute and whatever, or they're at home and they'll do the selfies and whatever. It's a thing that men are taking the selfies from the bottom. So you're seeing like, you know, triple chins and, you know, no shame in that. But I'm like, lads, we need to get you at a good angle. So guys don't, it depends. Some guys put in too much effort. If I see a man who has more than 5 emojis on his profile, I'm done. Like
5 emojis?
Another red flag.
Red flag. To explain their personality, they could have like thousands of emojis. It's like, do you really want me to go through and decipher all of this? Can you just like text it instead?
Okay, I have never seen that.
So you get it from either people are having way too much out there, or some guys just have nothing at all. They'll have one photo from like at a really bad angle. But I'm off the apps now. I'm done.
Because once at work, we saw the marketing team of the company helping one of the colleagues to build a Tinder profile.
Oh, bless. Yeah. Oh, there's jobs for people out there. Like you'd see, like people would add me on Instagram, and it's like, I'm here to make your profile better online. And I'm like, who needs that? But then like you'd see then on their posts, it's like all men. Fair enough. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, like the dating apps are biased a little bit against men. It's like the man is the consumer, is the one who's going to pay, and
true.
And is the one who needs the help, and so there's this.
Yes,
and I have the feeling that the apps, dating apps, they work a little bit like casino.
Oh, 100%. There's this lawsuit now been taken out against Tinder and all of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're being sued by someone because they are designed in a way like gambling to make it addictive with all of the subscriptions. If you pay X amount, you get to see who likes you. You get to send roses or, you know, all of these different things.
Yeah.
So it's really coming out there now that like, I mean, it is just a money making thing as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we are putting our mental health and relationships on hands of the market, who wants to make money with it. And I have a friend, and he's using, how's it called, Bumble? And there you pay so you can see who has liked you.
Oh, right.
Then he says, I saw that the app told me, these 5 girls have liked you. If you want to see who they are, pay. He goes, he pays. Where are the girls? No girls. They say, this was a fucking scam.
Really?
Oh, that's awful.
He was super pissed.
Oh my God.
So
this is an interesting fact I learned recently. I had a girl come on my podcast. She is a love researcher, and she was telling me that men get 2 matches a week from online dating.
how many you got as a woman?
Like every time you swipe.
Well, there's been a time like a couple of months ago I was back on just having a little flick, and I wasn't getting as many matches as I used to, and I was like, is it my age? And then someone said, oh yeah, like when you pass 30, like you get less matches, and I'm like, sorry, screw that now. I might be 34, but I do not look it. You know what I mean? But still, I was like, okay, maybe the guys my age are going for the 24-year-olds, you know? But I mean, I would get a lot of matches still. But to learn that men get 2 matches a week.
And for me, seems a lot.
Huh?
And for me, seems a lot.
Yeah, right? No way, Jesus. If I only got 2 in a day, I'd be annoyed, you know?
Yeah, we have a friend, a female friend, and she says, every guy that I swiped that I like him, he likes me back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, okay.
But is it true that when guys swipe that they're not even looking at the profiles? They're literally just, oh, she's hot. Yeah.
At one point, I can imagine that. Yeah. But also,
I think there was a time, but then I think Tinder
charge
implemented something to.
Oh, that's
to
right. You
prevent
can
that.
only have like 20 a
something
day or
like-
something. Yeah, that's
something like
right.
that.
It was a Tinder.
And also another thing, because I have a friend and he just recently, like a year ago, went back to the market, right?
Mhm.
And then he started to talk about all the things that now he sees in the dating world, because now also he's my age. I'm 38. He's also 38.
You're 38.
I'm 38.
Good for you. You do not look 38. Wow. Jesus.
And he also told me that how some girls, they behave on the dating apps. For example, he showed me some profiles and they are like, if you just reply hi, then I am not gonna answer
I
you
used
back.
to be one of those women.
Yeah.
I used to be, because you'd make a match and then someone would just text you saying hi. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? I know it's not the easiest place to make chit chat, but like, be a bit more, ask me how I am, or like ask me how my day is. But hi, I mean, that is the most boring, uninspiring message to ever respond
But
to.
he
What
said
would
that-
be the best?
Well, I used
A
to get
joke.
funny ones. Yeah, exactly. A joke, or mention
pickup
something
line.
in my photo being, or I do get a lot about like, oh my God, you have amazing hair. And I've heard that a lot. And I'm just like, can we get over the hair, please? I just feel like there's more to me than these magnificent curls. But like, you know, because I made my profile look interesting. I say that I'm good at doing accents. I like wearing big gold jewelry, earrings,
I see that.
you know, ding, ding. So if you can just pick something out of someone's profile to just talk about it, then you know that someone's gone through your profile. Because also, I used to put on my profile, like when I was on online dating, I would say where I'm from. I would say I'm Irish. And then someone would ask me, oh, where are you from? And I'm like,
so really, they don't check the profile.
check.
They just swipe.
it doesn't
Okay.
take you 2 seconds. It's not a book you're reading about me. It's scrolling down and just checking that it says Ireland.
It's
you
less,
know?
less than
Guys
100
listening to the
words.
podcast, take note. But my friends showed me that and we were like, wow, that's too aggressive. Of course, I also hate when people also on my contacts and everything. And I think I was telling you the other day when they just write you, someone who didn't write you in a long time ago, and they just say hi, and you're like, hi, and then they reply, how are you? And I'm like,
Oh, God.
tell me what you want.
Because for sure they want something.
It's a favor, right?
exactly.
Just
There's
tell
a
me.
reason there. Oh, exhausting.
Yeah. Or stuff that if there's a match, the girl, if there's a match, some of them they say, if there's a match, you need to take the first approach or something like that, but on Bumble or something like that. And I thought Bumble was made so the girl will make the first move.
Yeah, they have to make the first move, but I've seen people do this as well, and guys have said it. If you match me, then you have to write first. So that means that person's already swiped right on you, and then if I'm to swipe right on them, that means I have matched. Therefore, I need to make the conversation. That's what they mean by it. But like, yeah, but see, people are talking like that because we're getting so fed up of it. It's exhausting. I really think that the dating apps are slowly on their way out. I mean, they've been out for 12 years and if you even see now how they're advertising, Tinder is so different now, Bumble, like the way they're advertising it as relationships. When I started writing my book, I noticed all around town that like they were encouraging you to be single and to stay single. Single stays out longer was one of their slogans, but now it's all about like, find your forever person.
I think they have noticed that they have created this. They have created a problem of that, like a lot of choice. Stay single, hook up with whatever you want. This hedonistic life that at the end of the day it's not fulfilling in the long term, and people maybe they have seen the drop maybe in their consumption or something.
They must have if they're changing their advertising now. Like, definitely.
Because people want to have fun, but at the end they want to find real love. But you remember when dating how before there were not apps, were like portals or how dating websites were not cool. I remember that when people were joining to one of those, is like, oh my God,
You're desperate.
you're desperate, right?
I did it when it was uncool. I joined Plenty of Fish back before I moved to Berlin, 2014, 2013, just to have a look.
Okay.
And I remember I was meant to meet a guy, his name was Harry. And he stood me up. And that was it. Like, I never went on it again. I was just really curious about it. But like, yeah, that was a totally different time as well.
Yeah. And then suddenly I heard about Tinder on all the tech blogs and everything because I'm very into tech. And then I thought, okay, another dating app. Maybe it's not cool. And then a female friend told me, I'm in that app. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was just for the desperate people. No, this is really cool. Everyone is there in Berlin. Everyone is using it. And I thought, oh, okay. So they managed to make it cool.
Yeah.
But I remember the old times. I mean, because
old times.
Back in my
38.
Back in my days.
My days, I mean, when I was a teenage and also in my early 20s, I remember how was it to go and approach someone. And the thing that I mean, I've never used a dating app, but the thing that I don't like is that if I see a girl and I like her, and I swipe that I like and there's no match, I feel like, oh, I missed my opportunity. And before, if I would go to a party or to a bar or to a new class in school and I see a girl that I like, I will prepare everything and strategy or whatever so I could just talk to her. And that dating app leaves me out of that possibility.
Yeah, I know. It definitely kills the effort and the romance a bit as well.
Yeah, because there's no chance that you will talk to her.
No.
Yeah, you say, oh, maybe I can. Okay, but that also falls into the stalker thing. Okay, maybe I can see what she likes. Okay. Oh, you like that? Me too. I do like also that. And
then it gets weird.
Okay. Yeah, like this.
Depends on the voice that you do. So
voice is important.
If it's a sexy voice, then it's okay. If it's a creepy voice in your mind, then you are something wrong.
But do you think that now also with dating apps, approaching someone at a bar or in the street now is weird now that everyone is used to dating apps?
Here's the thing. I was always told in Berlin especially, men do not approach women. It's actually the women approach men. Mm-hmm. This is something I've learned, and I had fellas approach me the odd time on the street. I remember one time in particular, I was actually on the way to a date, and a guy stopped me, and he was like, "Hey, can I buy you a coffee?" And I was like, "No, I'm going on a date." But I love the idea of someone approaching me or me approaching them, and I have come into 2024 with that intention of like approaching men in bars instead. I'm really done with the apps now. I've realised they're not for me. It's not working. I think we should all be approaching people. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I know it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but if you're rejected, it's not the end of the world. There's trillions of people out there, and no can sometimes just mean no. Mm-hmm. You don't need to put it back on yourself. It's not that you're ugly. It's not that you're short. It's nothing. It's just no. We have to stop overthinking it. And I love to say, rejection is protection from the universe. So maybe it wasn't meant to be. You know what I mean?
Good way to see it. Yeah.
I just think we all need to kind of go backwards a bit. And so I don't know if you know about this pear ring. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Did you hear about
it?
I'm so glad.
But I hear from you.
Did you? Oh, thanks for well, I honestly don't even use it now anymore because I did try look up their meetups. They had one or two.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had it connected with the meetup, and I think you as a person, if you had the ring, you could organise this meetup. I don't want to be like telling negative things about them because I don't know what they're doing right now. I hope it's improving, but it didn't really take off in Berlin. I had two women at one stage ask me randomly, just, is that the dating ring? The single ring? And I was like, yeah, and they were like, has it worked for you? And I'm like, no. But I think it's a great idea, and it just encourages people to go and talk to someone, and it's a great conversation starter.
I mean, it was interesting to see that like normally you see a ring and that means that they are in a commitment relationship or they are married or whatever. But having a ring to identify people that they're single and they are looking for somebody, I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you don't know. It is better to know beforehand. Otherwise, you will go into this situation in which they say, sorry, I'm in a relationship. Okay, sorry, I did not know that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect segue into just asking, hey,
also, for example, in the office, we used to work together, Benji and I, and we were once in the office, and your girl just got started in the office. She, I think, was from somewhere in East Europe. And then we were talking, like typical, you go to the, how do they say, water cooler? But here is the coffee machine.
Oh, yeah.
The water cooler, we don't have that. The Sprudel machine.
Sprudel machine.
Yeah. And so we were talking to her, and then I felt that she was some sort of flirting. And then she said, oh, yeah, you should come to that place where she comes from. It's super cool and so on, but like in a bit of a flirty way. And then I mentioned, but I'm married and something like that. I don't remember how do I say it, but I noticed the awkward moment when the face. Okay. But it was like a bit
how do you react to that?
awkward. Yeah. And since we don't use rings, my wife or I, we don't use the rings. So the ring would maybe be more intuitive to know that.
May I ask why you don't use a ring? Because I actually know a few married people here, they don't have rings at all.
I don't know. She doesn't use jewelry, and I also not used to it. And we married very in a low budget, so we spend a lot of money on the other stuff. So we said, okay, this 1,000 euros that cost the ring, we can save it. We can get rings later. Mm-hmm. We bought some fake gold rings that end up not being so good for the skin, or
they
at
go
least
green.
So we used it for some time, and then in the end we said, okay, this is actually not so good for the skin, and
interesting.
So that was a little bit the reason, but that would have helped in that moment. And also, if you're looking for to have a ring that says, "Hey, I'm available,"
something that is saying, "I'm single."
I mean,
actually, that was the reason because Facebook was so popular, because it had a tag that it was saying, "I am single. I'm looking for somebody."
Says, yes, that's a good point. The status was up there. Yeah.
And then everyone has it's complicated. So
then it was just like basically that means don't talk to me. But anyway, though, I mean, even if you did talk to someone, if you tried chatting them up and they were married, then that's your answer. Just go along with your life now.
It's awkward, but
it's also good practice. You just keep doing it. So because what I've decided to do this year, and I mentioned that on my own podcast, is that I'm going to Irish bars more. They are overpriced and they're sticky carpets. But I tell you, that's my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. I go in and I talk to people also because I'm the token Irish woman in an Irish bar in Berlin. And they're like, "Oh, and you live here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're mostly like, "Why are you here then?" But like I go in and I can talk to people so easily in Irish bars here. Because I've realized that Berlin bars have the same amount of fun as a wine bar does. Do you know what I mean?
What?
It has the same amount of fun and interaction as a wine bar. Mm-hmm. Low lit, there's no real fun. There's no banter. There's no joy in a wine bar. Everyone's sitting down with their group of people. They're sipping on their wine. They're very calm. They're drunk, but they're not having fun. Exactly. So I have realized that is kind of that's the vibe of bars in Berlin. Wine bars. Wine bar vibes.
Good point.
Yeah.
I also talking about like showing if you're in a relationship or not. Also, I remember being once when we were younger in a they call it a traffic light party.
I go to them.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like green if you're available. Red is you're in a relationship.
Yes.
Yellow, you just want to have fun.
I had that. So I had a book release party and I did that as well. That was really fun.
How it went?
Didn't really work. I don't think. We all just got super drunk, to be honest. I don't think people really cared. But yeah, we had done that. That was really fun.
And also I have heard, and I don't know where I heard it, or could have been in your podcast by chance or in another one. I mean, for women, like over 30, they are looking for a guy who is like in between also over 30, but more like 35, 38, 40. But the problem with this kind of guys is that most of the times they are already they're married or they have in a relationship with children. And the guys who become available, it's after 40 when they break up or get divorced or whatever. And those are the ones who are available. But of course, for a girl or a woman of 32, let's say, a guy of 42 is, a bit too old, or he's already has a dad bod or something like that.
Yeah, it depends on the person too. I mean, I knew, how do I say this now? So I dated once last year, a 42-year-old man. I was set up with him by a friend and I thought, I'll meet a mature man now. Very excited. We got along so well. He was a writer as well and he was English. We had a bit of crack. He was Welsh, sorry, I should say. And he went off then. I basically haven't seen him since. He's been out of town because he works in the States as well. But he kind of kept ghosting me. And then this term breadcrumbing, where they come back every once in a while. Breadcrumbing is a term now.
So many terms that
you have to keep up. My next book will be a dictionary. All about the dating terms. But I thought to myself, great, I've met an older man. 10 years. No, I'm sorry. Actually, he could even be 44. So I'm there I'm like, listen, man, you've got a 34-year-old that's interested in you. don't waste this chance. And, as I said, breadcrumbs me. Like, I woke up the other morning, hadn't heard from him for 2 months. He sends me a voice clip and I'm like, don't you dare. So I just didn't respond, and I'm not going to respond. And it's not ghosting. I've just got my barriers up now.
Yeah,
it's soft what?
Soft ghosting.
Soft?
Ghosting.
Ghosting. I heard tossing.
I know. Soft ghosting.
It's not even that. It's just like, you know what, mate? You knew that I was around since last June and you're popping in and out of my life, and I just refuse to engage in conversation with you anymore, to be honest.
It's weird because, okay, you're 44. I could imagine that there's not a lot of choice for you left, and you're just like very close to that moment that whatever you say is not a compliment anymor. It becomes harassment.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I say. Depending on what age you are as a man, it is a compliment or harassment. You're a perv, or you are just, I don't know, silly.
A nice guy.
Nice, attractive guy.
So like that, I mean, it just depends on who you meet. I mean, when I was 31, 32, I was dating a guy who was 7 years older than me. And I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, he's 37. He's mature. Man.
Yeah.
He's in the book. You know what I mean? So he was an absolute a-hole. So like, age just doesn't matter. Like,
well, I made it on a book.
Exactly. And he knows about it too.
Oh my God.
Does any of your ex-boyfriends knows that you have written the book, and can they identify themselves in the book?
Well,
How have they reacted?
I'd say the only guy that knows about it is the man that I called Nick. That is not his name, absolutely not his name. But in the chapter, his name is the Rhinestone Coy Boy. You know, like the song "The Rhinestone Cowboy."
No.
Yes.
Like a rhinestone cowboy. I'm obsessed with it, but because he was a bit coy, you see. The play on words here. And he knew about it because I was finishing up the book and then I met him.
Okay.
And I thought, well, you deserve to have a chapter. Like when we were breaking up, because he was a total prick. He was a 37-year-old who, instead of being in a relationship with me, cheated on me with a woman 17 years younger than him, just for the sake of a bit of sex. And I was like,
What?
You are choosing to give up our connection to sleep with a woman that much younger just for the sake of your ego. That's why he made the book. And so when we broke up, he was like, are you going to put me in your book? And I was like, yes. Yes, I will. So what was the original question with that? Oh, yeah. So no, he's the only guy that knows about it. But funnily enough, there's a chapter, a guy called the Duke of Dominance. He was a man that I met twice. And he's the guy that took rejection really badly when I was just like, after 2 dates, I was just like, look, I'm just not feeling it. Sorry, best of luck. He couldn't take no for an answer. So I ended up writing about him and talking about rejection in the book. And last year I was sending a poster of the book back to Ireland, a promotion poster. And I was in the post office. I'm never in a post office. And I walk in, it was on Warschauer Straße. Who was there at the till paying for his stuff? Only this guy, the Duke of Dominance. And I was like, this is hilarious. If he only knew that why I'm here is because the book that I wrote about is now in a poster and I'm sending it to Ireland and he's in the book. Like, it's so funny. But it's for that reason that I don't want to have my face online, because a lot of people like the big story of the toxic relationship.
Yeah.
He doesn't know about it, but by God, I would love to give it to him. Because I've not seen him since we broke up 8 years ago. And because he ruined me, I want him to know, oi, buddy, I made it without you, kind of thing. I mean, I could probably post it to him. I know where he lives, but I don't need the drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So there are people, therefore you cannot see her face. It's not that we made a mistake with the camera and that's why you see it blurry. It's on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's weird. I mean, when I can imagine Sundays, how awful can be when you are single or after a breakup. And as a guy, I know that sometimes you look for the fun and everything, but after a while, I don't think it's so fun, this kind of feeling of a Sunday afternoon and all of your friends are with their partners and you don't have your partner there. I don't know why some of them, they don't want to grow up, as you say, they want to have this Peter Pan syndrome. And what I tell some people is like some relationships, I feel like they're like a train. And what the dating apps have created is like the illusion that there's another train and another train coming after the other. But actually, sometimes the train passes, you say, oh, I'm going to wait for the next one. But the next one never comes. That was your train. And you let it go because you thought something better was coming.
You missed the ship, as we'd say in English.
Yeah.
Ship sail by. Exactly. And that's what frustrates me. I'm like, again, my most recent ex-boyfriend, we broke up recent. Well, we didn't get back together. It's complicated. But basically, I was just like, man, do you even realize that you can't be like this for the rest of your life? You know, I mean, I said he's just totally closed off from emotions. And I was like, you're such a great guy. Like this was the nicest breakup I've had with anyone. And I was just like, I want you to be a better person because you deserve it. And I said, you're going to have to grow up at some stage or you're actually going to be alone forever. And I said, you actually deserve to be with someone. But I said, you're so emotionally closed off that you're not going to get to that point. And it frustrates me. There's so many wonderful men out there, but they actually don't realize that they might actually miss the ship someday. And they will be actually left on the shelf forever because like women have better, we're just more emotionally intelligent and we can get along. You know, we can also have babies without having a man, right? You know, we can do IVF and all that. We have ways. Yes, men could probably do it too. They could adopt a child, but it's not easy to adopt, especially in Germany. Actually, women could get along without a man and still have a child. I know people that have gone through IVF and are having their own kids and they're not married. They have no boyfriend. You know what I mean? So we could still have our families. You know?
Yeah, true. And then, and for, okay, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah. Now you mentioned about older guys, like very like that you think that they are mature, but they are not. But it's because of the age. Have you ever met somebody that it is younger and then it looks more mature?
So mature. Oh my God, you've no idea. Yes, there has been men in my life. They are like 10 years younger than me. They're Gen Zs. And they're fantastic. They are so bright. They are so switched on about dating and life and everything. And I'm just like, why don't I want to date a guy who's 15 years younger than me? And I'm like, well, because he's 15 years younger. I'd rather a man with life experience, but it's insane. Like, I think if it comes to it, by the time I'm 40, I might look to dating a guy who's 25, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's insane, the difference.
Okay, but
it's the overexposure.
That talks about it very much about the generations.
Or because, I mean, have you watched How I Met Your Mother?
No, I couldn't stand that.
There's
but I know
reference about the luggage. You remember that when they talk about luggage? So the more they say a lot of people carry a lot of luggage. So each luggage is the experiences or bad experiences in relationships.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Maybe so when you meet someone like maybe someone in their 20s or 25-year-old, they haven't lived so many bad experiences. So they are still like innocent. They can still trust another person because they haven't had this toxic relationship. They're not damaged. So maybe that's part of why they seem more mature, because they haven't been, their heart hasn't been
they're
broken.
innocent. They just haven't lived their lives. Exactly. So, so then I would come in and just like ruin it for them with all my baggage probably. I don't know. No, but like that, I don't know. I think it's actually just exposure to the terms like ghosting, manipulation, all these things that I didn't know about. We weren't taught that in school.
Yes.
And now because TikTok, like, okay, TikTok is TikTok. I don't use it. But you learn things from online as well.
Yes.
Not everything is factual, but like, you know, my book is out there now. Like, we are the generation that started dating when we were in our 20s, like online dating. We had to learn the mistakes. As I said, we didn't, like, gaslighting wasn't a term up until recently. Situationship, that's only come out.
What is that?
Situationship. It's like, what it is it's up to it's usually like you're dating someone for about 3 months. You're not exclusive, but you're not dating other people. You really like each other. You don't want to put a label on it. Oh, okay. Now there's a term for it. It's and it seems to be something about the 3-month mark. I had a girl on the podcast the other day. She was from Hamburg. She was telling me, she's 2.5 months into dating this guy, and I was like, the 3-month mark is coming up now. And she was like, I know, I have to prepare myself for the big question. And I was like, this is insane that it really is a 3-month mark. I had the experience myself. Came to 3 months. It was this last guy that I was telling you about with no emotions, and I said, well, seeing as we're exclusive, can I call you my boyfriend now? And 3 days later, he gave me the answer. And he was like...
3 days later?
Because he couldn't give it to me there and then. I was like, go home and think about it. It was a Wednesday. I said, it was a Tuesday or something. And I said, you have until Friday. And I thought, give him a bit of time to sweat. I won't talk to him. He'll know what he's missing. He came over to my house and he was like, no, I can't do it. He said, I'm too afraid to feel pain for when we break up. And I was like, when we break up? I said, what if we never break up? But we will. I was like, this is horrible. You know, so this is...
Yeah, but that's so sad. So now people, they think that they will break up before even being in a relationship.
Yeah, well, and so I went to my therapist about this, and she said to me, no offense, but she said to me, by any chance does he work in IT? And I was like, oh my God, how did you know that? And then when my ex and I started talking again, he was like, yeah, because, you know, there's, I don't know, he was saying something about something that relates to his job. And it was like the problem is there, but you can't sort it out or something anyway. And I was just like, holy fuck. So now I can't date guys in IT.
Okay, I can read.
Which is going to be very hard because I think 90% of men in Berlin
exactly.
Work in IT. Okay, but I kind of understand the guy. I have some sort of sympathy, and not because I work in IT. No, but I was the same also when I was younger. I was, I think on my 20s, I didn't want to go on a relationship. Well, especially with a girl that I didn't like that much, just because, okay, I have the opportunity to have a girlfriend. Let's see how that is. But I'm like, but we don't, she's not the one. And then I was so afraid that I will fall in love of someone who is not the one, and at the end it will not work, and then my heart will be broken, and it will be very painful. Especially because we had a couple of guys who, of our circle of friends, who had their first girlfriend. They broke up for the first time, and they were like completely destroyed. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. I asked him on Facebook, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like the typical "How are you doing?" You know, like opening question, and he's like, "That's super bad, man. I don't want to live. I really miss her. I want to kill myself." And that was just
super dramatic.
That was just a hello kind of question. But
right. Here's the thing. It is very important to get your heart broken. It really is, because it shapes you. And like, I must say, as much as I went through so much shit in this book with the first toxic relationship, I'm quite grateful that I had the experience, because I have grown so much from it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's important to feel pain. It really is. You know, and heartbreak is important because it does change you. And I've had my heart broken a few times, and like, you get over it. My God, you get over it. There are worse things in life that you go through. And I'm only talking about relationship heartbreak. Someone dies, it's a different kind of heartbreak. But with a relationship, my God, you get over it.
But I can understand. So I remember the first time that my heart was broken, it took me 2 years.
Oh.
2 years.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was horrible. Like you feel pain. No, it's, anyways.
How old were you?
I was 21.
21?
Did you?
23, 23, I think, something like that.
Did you have the means?
That was with...
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've known each other.
We studied together, high school and everything.
No, and he
in high
was...
school?
Yeah, we know each other from high school,
Childhood sweethearts, cute.
And I remember I was like, oh yeah, but I miss her so much. And he was like, yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't know how to react. I mean, I'm really bad at comforting friends and especially because he didn't want it to be in a relationship with her at the beginning. And
that's the strange part.
And then she left him, and then he wasn't paying. I was like, but you didn't want to be with her anyway, so...
Thinking logically about it.
I'm an IT, I think logically.
and now I understand the damage that I did to him.
But
did you learn something from that heartbreak?
Yeah, of course.
What
So
did you learn?
I learned that the first time is when it really hurts, and after that you're not so emotional, or it does not hurt so much. So the next time that it happened, it was like, okay, life goes.
Life goes on,
and then,
exactly.
Exactly. That was it was not because I did not like her as much as the other one or whatever. It was just like, okay, I understand that it does not hurt so much. I will find, no, I will not find. I will meet somebody else. Sorry for the bad translation, but yes.
No, you can say that. You can find someone else. But first cut is the deepest, because it's your first time feeling that.
Yeah.
It's insane, you know?
But after that, I was not in a relationship for very long.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, I can get that you can avoid that feeling as well. But I found when I was in love and I was very young, the next relationship that I had was months later, because I was like super young, like in my teens. I refused to fall in love with the next boyfriend because I was like, well, I couldn't anyway, because the first time was so intense. You can't bring that intensity to everyone every time.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's the thing. What I think, it creates this kind of wounds that somehow affect. So, for example, when you if you're playing basketball, you hurt your knee or your ankle, then the next time you cannot jump as high because your ankle is still injured in a way. So if it's in a relationship, it's like that. You have an injury that sometimes doesn't let you fully go to the next relationship, and that has always been my fear. Yeah, I don't know how is the other side, because the only time I have been in love is with my wife. All the other times were just dating that never, how's it called,
Ended up-
materialized in anything.
materialized.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first time you fell in love was with the woman you're married to now?
Yeah, because the other person that I think I was in love, I think I was just obsessed. That could be.
I was just obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty girl from high school. I made, this whole theater and everything, move everything so I could meet her, then theater and everything so I could get her number, and everything just so I can go out the first time with her. So it was like this whole theatrical movement, so I could create the situation so I could be with her because she was very pretty and I wanted a pretty girl and I wanted to show to my friends, look what I can do. I need this kind of like confirmation for everyone. Oh my God, he got the hot girl from high school. So apart from the attractiveness that I was feeling to her, I think a lot of the part was, or the motivation was because I wanted that.
You wanted the chase.
She wanted a
No,
trophy.
you wanted to
I wanted
chase her. Yeah.
I wanted to chase her and I
Yeah.
wanted to prove everyone that I can get what I want.
You can get the prize. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I realized that after the years that what I was feeling was never love, but it was more like chasing something for my own
Excitement.
selfish benefit. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Okay. Well, I wish you all the best. I hope your heart doesn't get broken then with your wife.
Well, I hope not. Then it's gonna hurt. from
Yeah,
what I hear.
very much.
It's gonna suck.
And then I will be like, oh yeah. What do you want me to do?
It's
No,
quite
I'm
hard.
just joking, of course.
What was the worst date you ever had?
Are we going to talk about it? Do you know the one?
I
Oh,
don't know.
oh, do you not?
No,
Oh,
but
no, you listened to the other podcast.
Yeah,
About the murderer.
a murder.
that was the worst?
Well, Jesus, it can't get much worse than that.
Okay.
Wait, I don't know that story.
So settle down, boys. I have a story for you. Right. So to give you a bit of background, I used to love hard-looking men. I loved bad boys. I was into-
Why
don't-
girls like bad boys?
Red flag.
Massive
Yes.
red flag. This man was a walking red flag. It was no from the get-go. But I mean, I had been chewed up, spat out from this abusive relationship that I went back to dating, not having any self-esteem and not recognizing bad boys, really bad boys when I saw them.
Okay.
So we matched on Tinder and we met the next day at Schlesisches Tor. It's on. We met at Schlesisches Tor and this guy arrived. He was an American, basically. Not that makes him extra bad or anything. But so to make a very long story short, we walked around for a while and we landed ourselves in a bar on Reichenberger Straße. I shall not name the bar.
Okay, yeah. Too many
Right?
details.
Probably it's the classic.
Huh?
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
We
okay.
have one that we call the classic, but might be the one that
Starts with B.
Maybe.
Starts with a B.
Yes.
I love that place. Such good fun. So I brought him in there and it was a really quiet night. But anyway, so he was giving off really bad vibes and he had a massive scar on his face. It was very what's the word I'm trying to say? It's a telltale. It was a telltale sign. Please edit that out. It was a telltale sign, this massive scar in his face. And we were sitting down at a table in this bar, getting to know each other. I don't know how the conversation turned, but I found myself asking this man, had he ever been to prison? And he said yes.
Normal question.
And I was like, oh, what did you do? Did you knock down a cat accidentally when you were driving? And actually pause because I don't know how much of this part of the story is actually in the book. So I better just kind of skip to, can I just quickly double check?
Yeah,
sure.
of course.
Grand.
The power of editing.
I tell you. Sorry. The Vegan Butcher is
The Vegan
is the name.
Butcher.
The Vegan
Yes.
Butcher, page 85, chapter 5.
The name, I love the name. Yeah,
so
it
much
was
fun.
so
My
beautiful.
sister and I made up all of the chapter names. So much fun. So I said to him, what did you do? And he said, when I was younger, I got into a fight and I stabbed a guy. And then he went into details with me about what he did, but I won't say it on the show.
Yeah.
And so then I said to him, how many years of your life have you spent in prison? And he looked at me and said, 15. And I was like, huh? I was like, how old are you? And he was like, 37. And I was like, totting it up on my fingers. I was like, wait, what's going on? And I said, when was the last time you got out of prison? And he looked at me quite coy and he was like, I'm still kind of in prison. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I'm out on good behavior. And I was like, good behavior for what, man? Did you drink, drive and knock down a fox? And he was like, no, I'm actually out in good behavior because I chopped a man's head off. And I was like, oh, I'm not surprised. I was like, I'm not believing you right now, because he was giving off all these really bad vibes. So I need to go through the book just to double check what I did say and not say. So he literally said I chopped a man's head off. And I can tell you the story afterwards. I didn't put all the details in for my own safety and for just.
Can you imagine?
It was insane. So basically, he told me what he had done. He told me a few more things, and he actually told me, he was like, you can Google me. They made a documentary about me and all this kind of stuff.
A documentary.
But he was proud of it.
He was proper gloating.
Whoa.
I'm serious, right? And so when the date ended, I Googled him when I got home or when I was at the bar. I can't remember exactly where it happened, but I Googled the key words which he told me.
Mm-hmm.
And his face came up on 2 newspaper articles. He had committed the crime here in Berlin, and he was
In Berlin,
and he was out on as he said, a 10-year. He was out of good behavior for a 10-year manslaughter charge. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Wow, but how he managed to get out of jail so
It's what
fast?
they do here.
Or
So
just-
I looked into it. So the system here is basically they want to rehabilitate you. So he was 8 years into his 10-year term, I think.
Okay.
And so he was out on the weekends, which meant he could go date fucking idiots like me who were like,
Really?
yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, actually, here for the most horrible crime that you could ever do, like the most horrible thing, and you will be just 25 years in prison.
Yeah.
Really?
Like life
Yeah.
isn't life here as it is in America. Even in Ireland, life used to only be 20 years. I think might even be life now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is actually a story that happened. And so
Wow.
I went.
I mean, if it happens in the United States, I think it's life or
it's
Yeah.
literally hundreds of years. You can get like multiple life.
And-
sentences.
and-
yeah, so it's like
maybe in some states it's even death penalty.
Yeah.
But here, just 25 maximum.
Well,
so-
this guy got 10. And I mean, I said to him, I was like, how is it manslaughter if you chopped a man's head off? Did you like accidentally run and trip and fall on his neck? You know? And so anyway, I went home that night and I woke up the next morning.
You were searching in Google how to chop them heads.
That's the way to do it. So I woke up the next morning and I was like, fuck, did I like tell him anything about myself? And I didn't in the end, because I am a very inquisitive person. It ended up me basically interviewing him. It's like an interview with a murderer. And yeah, so anyway, the day went on, he was texting me and I was like, right, I need to figure out how I'm going to approach this. I'm either going to block him or I'm going to let him know and block him. And I went with the latter. I did the two. So I basically texted him saying, look, thanks for a great night. It was lovely meeting you, but I don't see a second date in the works. Smiley face to keep it friendly. And his response was, and I have this in the book, he literally said, okay, any specific reason? And I was like, well, if we're going to get particular, I was like, you're a bit too short for me. No, but what I just said was, no, I just didn't feel a connection. I was very concerned about keeping the connection from my neck to my shoulders, you know? And his response was, okay, I guess my instincts were way off, lol. And then I blocked him. I just moved the fuck on.
Wow.
Psycho.
Yeah,
Psycho.
it really happened. Yeah, it is an insane story. It's like the
But he
mic
was
drop
vegan.
story. He was vegan. That was the most off-putting thing of it all. I think I could never date a vegan.
Right.
Quite honest. You give it a cheese.
Vegan. You could have said, yeah, I cannot imagine dating a vegan.
I can imagine dating a murderer, but not a vegan,
Well,
right?
but at least he did not do that to an animal.
Well, here's the thing.
Oh, no.
No, so because again, I'm not sure how much of that I put in the book, but when I thought about it for a while after, I was like, how do you just casually chop a man's head off? How do you have the balls to do that? And it was a couple of weeks or months later, I remember I was watching, there's a Netflix show about a murderer. I don't know, there's so many of them now, but back in the day, there was a particular one and it was really hyped up. And there was a scene in it and it said, the murderer must have been a hunter by the way they chopped up the deer in this documentary. And I paused it and I was like, oh, I remember he told me he was a hunter. That's how he was able to do it. Fucking mind blowing. I'll tell you the full story in detail after the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, if you're thinking, those who are listening, that you had a bad date,
Think about this one.
Think about that twice. Yeah,
I
exactly.
win the dating story every time.
Yeah.
It's just mic drop stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
out.
Are you dating someone now?
No, I'm not. But funny enough, lads, today, I was at the market last week selling my book and met a load of people, had a great time, had loads of people add me from meeting them on my Instagram page. And I had a text off a man today and he was like, "Oh, it was lovely meeting you last week." He was like, "I'll be back in Berlin soon. Maybe we can meet up." And I was like, "Oh, hello." I was like,
Wow.
okay, why not? He lives in England. I feel like he's not going to come over anytime soon. But I was like, oh, that's really nice. So like,
Yeah.
I'm texting him now and like, maybe we'll have a call because I'm like, what am I holding back on? Let's have a chit chat. I have nothing to lose. But no, I haven't dated someone for a long time.
What do you look in a man?
I just want someone who is fucking honest and open with their communication.
That guy was honest.
Well, he was, to be fair. Now, and I thought the same thing. And I thought, well,
Too honest.
Yeah,
Too
and
honest. But
my
better
mother might
know.
like him, And I thought,
But that's why you need them to be honest, so you
Yeah.
can take a decision based
Well,
on what
yeah.
they say.
No, imagine you start dating and then 1 year
You
later you realize that he was what?
imagine that.
Oh,
and
you
he
get
really
married or
didn't.
something like that, and then you realize.
And then I like look him up, and like
Mm,
during
My
the
God,
date, I
a
said to
novel.
him-
This can be a novel.
yeah, definitely. But like at one point during the date, I was like, why are you telling me this? Oh no, wait, maybe I'm getting that mixed up with my toxic ex-boyfriend because he was calling me his best friend.
Oh.
No, that's a different thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you
But
can
you
edit
want
that out.
someone who is honest.
Oh Jesus! I just want someone who's fucking honest, who knows. Sorry, I'm swearing. Sorry, I'm getting really passionate now, so I'm swearing.
You can swear.
I just want someone who is honest and open with their communication, and of course, sense of humor. I need that. Like, I could not date a man that can't, like, that doesn't know how to laugh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not asking for much. I'm really I'm a very simple woman looking for a simple man to live a simple life. But I have given up with the lads here, I must say. So that's why I'm not dating at the moment. I just couldn't be bothered, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, just looking for a nice chap. So if there's anyone out there, and I love the Spanish accent. So if anyone's listening and they're over 176 centimeters, aged between 30 and 40, email me.
Yeah, some of our audiences
Yeah,
still
yeah.
the Spanish-speaking community. We're hoping to get more of the Berlin and international community, but right now is our hardcore fans who
We
speak
should do
English.
something to bring the Spanish and the Irish together. Like
Yeah.
Spanish speakers and the Irish together, because we have the sense of humor and the chat and stuff.
Yeah.
We should combine, join forces.
That is true.
Someone
big
told me
party.
that Dublin is a little bit like Mexico, like it's
Really?
chaotic
Could be.
and like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah,
Yeah, full of life and just just up for the laugh.
yeah.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
been there. Yeah, I would like to visit.
Yeah,
once.
me too.
Oh,
I
start
come
saving
to a
your
real
money.
Irish pub and to get into a real Irish fight.
Don't go to Dublin for a real Irish bar. Well, of course, there's
Okay.
plenty of bars there that are genuine, but go to like Galway or Kerry on the coast. That's where the real Ireland is now.
Okay.
Dubliners won't like me saying that, obviously, but like Dublin is beautiful, stunning bars, whiskey bars and stuff, but go to the West Coast. It's
Okay.
insane.
Get some good shepherd pie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I will not understand what people say.
Say
You
it
won't
here.
have a clue, but it's all about the charm and they're smiling at you and they do small talk and it's so cute. They're the best.
To see the sheeps around.
Yeah,
and
it's
everything.
gorgeous.
Nice.
Oh, picturesque.
Yeah, a pretty
So
last.
funny. Now continue.
I have the last.
You have the last.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So one of the things that I hear from another podcast, it is that you mentioned that you want to have healthy relationship. But I think, what's your definition of healthy relationship?
A healthy relationship is like that, where you both trust each other. You're
Okay.
both talking openly and honestly. You're not cheating on each other. You're not like, okay, you can look at other people on the street and admire them, but you're not being a sleaze and flirting with someone. Like, if you're both healthy, that means that you're both secure in yourselves, that you don't need to put the other person down. You don't need to make the other person jealous. Be kind to each other. And yeah, main thing is just don't cheat.
Yeah. And for instance, do you think that you will find that here in Berlin, or
Oh.
do you think that you will have to move out?
I have been asking myself this question for about a year now. Honestly, I don't know. Well, what I am doing now, lads, is I'm starting to manifest. I have come to the point where I have tried everything, and now I'm going to manifest this man.
What do you mean, like this?
So you dress up as a witch and you have a fire ceremony? I'm kidding.
It's Berlin. I'm starting to believe that.
It's possible. So you have to dye your hair white. No. Manifesting sounds like a big hippy dippy word, and it's like, oh, she's manifesting. But I have a book at the moment. It's called Calling in the One. A friend who's from Mexico, she's living here, she recommended it to me. And I was like, okay, I'll try it out. It's my last resort. And you know what? It makes sense. Manifesting is setting intentions and goals and working towards them. I did have a little burning ceremony where you write down all of the things that you want to let go of, which includes your toxic ties. Called up my ex-boyfriend, had a nice chat with him, said goodbye. It was like, nice knowing you. This was the nice guy. Like we had a pleasant ending. And I honestly woke up the next day with a massive headache, and I thought, I think I've just cleansed myself, honestly. But so, for example, like there are men that maybe I would fancy, but they're not ticking all my boxes. I don't like smokers, right? But for example, last week at the market, I was chatting with a guy. He was really cute, but he was smoking. If that was me a couple of weeks ago, I'd have been like, okay, I'll put up with the smoking and maybe I'll put up with other things. But now I have a strategy where it's like, okay, fair enough. He can't tick every single box, but the really important boxes, you have to be true to yourself. If you're going looking for someone, you don't want them to smoke. You want them to, okay, height is sometimes important, but you know, all of these things, if you have what you want, go get it. And I have heard a lot of success stories about manifesting, and like that, I got my book done. I got the podcast done. When you want a job, it's tunnel vision. You're going to get what you want. And I make everything happen in my life, because I work towards these goals. And I've realized that the online dating apps, they're not working for me. So I'm trying something different. And this is why I'm into approaching men now. And that's manifesting. I'm like, I see a guy. Oh, he looks so far like he's my type. I'm going to go talk to him. And then if he doesn't match up with me, I'm just not going to waste my time anymore.
If he works in IT, then you say, okay, bye. But words have power. So
words have
good.
power, exactly. So I would recommend that anyone who is struggling out there to find a relationship in this city as well, to look into manifesting. And it's a book called Calling in the One. I don't know who wrote it, but it's a whole exercise. It takes like 7 weeks to do it. And it's lovely. You're also learning about yourself and about your past, and you're just improving yourself, basically.
So I guess that how you keep hope.
Yeah,
city.
I'm keeping hope alive. I light a candle every night and say 10 Hail Marys. But like that, I'm staying in Berlin for Berlin. I'm not staying here just because I can't find a man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have thought about leaving, of course, but where would I go? I'm not moving back to Ireland. It's too expensive. Money goes further here. Have so many friends here. Great lifestyle. Money goes further, as I said. And what's meant to be will be. I have a cat. That's the main thing right now.
Good.
So I mentioned him in every podcast because I'm actually obsessed with him. He's so cute.
Well, it was necessary for the ceremony. Also
yeah, exactly. Have to burn the hair of your cat on the fire.
Yeah, nice. Thank you very much for coming to the podcast, Lulu Johnson. Where can they get your book?
You can get my book on Amazon. You can find me on Instagram at datinginberlin_book. You can find my podcast, Dating, Laughter and Disasters, on Spotify, Apple Music and Amazon. And as I said, for the Spanish man, you can call me on 0176. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. Follow her podcast. There are a lot of stories from another friends that you have telling their stories.
Exactly.
So I heard your podcast this week. So it's very interesting. And also for all the people who have been listening to the podcast to this point, thank you very much for following up. Don't forget to follow us also in Instagram,
in Guten Tag Podcast.
Also on YouTube. Please subscribe. This project's going to be huge. We're going to keep bringing very interesting guests. So see you next time.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.